Welcome bogies. Saturday, a bit early, so I'm just going to do something a bit quiet hopefully. So I'm just going to try and get this brake line running and just leave it overhung so I can then flare the ends later. I've got quite a small tool, pardon the expression, got quite a small tool. Allows me to get in there, so well, I may just flare this end anyway, and then I can just see if it's right. Always cut it down later, so yeah. Going to run the brake line, just using copper again. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Well, I just decided to flare the end where it's going to go under the subframe, so what I just wanted to do was I've still got, it goes into this model. You have a brake bias and brake compensator at the front, and all it is just a T-piece at the back of the subframe. So a while ago, about a few weeks ago, I bought myself a kit to overhaul the back end. Comes with brake parts already made. Comes with all the brake hoses, slave cylinders, everything. I forgot where I got this from now. No, that's not the receipt. I'll dig it out where I got it from, and then I'll put it in the description. But again, I found them on eBay, so a local firm, well, not a local firm, but a little firm did that. But what I'm going to just do is just get the T-piece out. So I've got the old T-piece on the old car, but as soon as that comes with a nice new one, I might as well use that. So I can then just double check the thread size, because if it's a different size, you know, you never know, they might have swapped to metric or whatever as soon as it's their kit. So what I can do is I just double check the size, find the right adapter piece that I need, the right brake fitting, and then put that on the end of the brake pipe and give it a little bit of extra length. Should be fairly easy because you can always lose it under the subframe there, you can always loop it a little bit or whatever. So yeah, that's all good. I don't think they gave it to me there. No. So instructions there, I have to read that. Alright. There it is. Well, that's a good start. I've just checked my box brake fittings and I don't have any. Don't know if you can see them in there quite easily. Very coloured. Should get the other ones. But basically you can get gold and silver. They're normally coloured, whether they're metric or UNF. So I seem to have just loads of gold ones left. So I don't think they've supplied me with one, which is not unreasonable, since it's just the and gonna double check some of my other pots, see if I've got one laying around. If not, I'm gonna have to order some up. Oh, another job stopped for a moment. Alright, it's going to be one of those mornings where I don't get nothing done. So I was going to buy myself a new battery cable, and I went up to measure the old one, and it actually seemed in fairly good condition. I think it's definitely, so what I'm just going to do is give it a clean up and just see what it looks like and see if I've got any nicks or cuts in it, if I can really use it. And if I can, great. If not, I'll measure it up and have to buy another one. Let's give it a clean up. No, to be honest, that's cleaned up fairly well for all the damage that I've been doing to it near it. So I might just run it in there and just see how it fits for the moment. Just check the layout, just leave it in there for the moment. Hello, welcome back. been down Wetherspoons for lunch with a few friends, which is very nice. Been a nice meal. Chat to a few adults, which has been good. Trouble is, I'm a little bit tipsy now. I've decided, for self-preservation, to stay away from the power tools just at the moment. So yeah, I'll keep away from them for the moment. Sorry for the pauses, just trying to think while I pissed. So earlier I said I couldn't find the fittings that I wanted. I'd run out of them. I've got a little box of them up there. All I've got is left metric ones. Checked back on eBay or what I actually bought. So I bought a roll of copper pipe, but it also came with fittings, which I didn't realise earlier when I took them out of the bag. So yeah, all good. It actually came with a bag of the fittings that I need. So brilliant. We can get on and run the brake pipe as well. So that's good. So I'll flare the end. I might just show you how to flare the end in a minute. I've got a real cheap tool. You can get proper, real nice, expensive brake flaring tools, mounting vices, big things. I've got a real cheap one off eBay I got years ago. 90% of the time it does a good flare on the end of the pipe. 10% it doesn't, but you just cut it off and redo it again, you know. So it's not ideal, but you work with what you got. So let me cut a bit of pipe off and I'll just show you that, and then we can make the flare up properly. Okay, I'll try and do it. Cut a bit of pipe off. And when you cut the pipe with those little pipe cutters that I've shown before in other videos, what I end up doing is just getting a drill and just by hand just cleaning and deburring the inside of the pipe, because it sort of folds it over slightly when you cut it. So we get rid of that. This is a cheap flaring tool that I got off eBay years ago. Still works, still does what I need to. As I said, it's not as posh as the big ones. My dad's got a real nice one that he's used for years, but he won't give it to me because he's still using it. So basically, in principle, all you're doing is you end up squeezing and clamping the pipe into something, and then you've got different types of dies and pushers that you put in. What this is tricky of, because it's just a cheap one, is what's very critical, if you can see that, is depending on what flare you're doing, is how far this pipe sticks out. So if you get it too far out, and when you try and squash it, it's just too much, and it just squashes all out the sides and just doesn't give you a good flare. If you're too far in, again, the flare doesn't, it's not enough copper there to actually flare out, so again, you don't get a good flare. So after a few years of forgetting how to do it, it takes a few times, so that's why I've got a little bit of practice piece. And in the end, once I start doing a few, you end up thinking, yeah, you do it by eye in the end. And I guess what it is, and you just get used to doing it. So once you think you've got it just about right, you clamp this tool shut, and it grips the pipe. You know, the benefit of this tool is that you can actually get it in to places sometimes if the pipe's still in the car. Depending on what flare you're doing, again, it all depends on what fitting you're using, so I can't really explain too much, but the flares I'm going to do are what they call like a double flare, so it sort of pushes on itself. If you're just doing a single flare, you would just use the end of this tool, I think, and squash down, and it just splays the flare out, opens the end of the pipe. By putting this little mandrel, little push tool in, die in, it forces it to be pushed downwards but and outwards, and then sort of hopefully creates. Oh, that's not going in at the moment because the hole's too small. Let me just get a drill. Get that drill. Damn gloves. Hang on a second. What size have I got? It's 3/16. Alright, give me a second. I won't let you watch this because it's going wrong. Alright, just needed a little bit more deburring, but as you can see now, that goes in there. You get different sizes, and again, these holes are different sizes on different copper pipes, so you line up with what you want. And so basically, yeah, you put this tool over the top, and then you just wind it in. So it's pushing down on that flare, and then if you've got the right distance, which I don't know if I have, we're just going to test it, you wind this in, and it basically just squashes the pipe. And if you've got too much, you get a bad flare. If you haven't got enough, you get a bad flare. So, and in the end, it will bottom out. You just can't push it any further because it's actually hitting the main tool. And then you wind it off. And fingers crossed, you've got a flare in the end there. So, I don't know if that's a very good one. I don't think that's definitely not one of my best ones. As I said, the tool's not brilliant. It creates a flare on the end. And so basically, once that's, I can't do it now because I've flared the other end at the moment, so I can't do it, show you. But that would poke out there. You'd put this fitting on first, flare it, and then once that's inside, it crushes down and makes a good seal. And in the end, that's the thing. You can find out that once you've actually put it all in, bolted it all in, and you're trying to bleed the brakes, if there's any leaks, you've done a bad flare. If there's no leaks, you're looking good. So yeah, I think I just overdid that one slightly in length, so hopefully the next ones will be alright. Alright, that's the brake pipe roughly in. Should have enough excess there to bend it back into the T-piece. If I don't, I'll worry about that later. I think I have, I've left plenty on there. So yeah, that's good. Put a bit of heat shrink under each of the tabs just to give it a bit of protection, because as I said, that's what they originally had. Left a bit of excess at the top there to go into the balancer and the compensator, brake compensator at the front once I'm there. So yeah, that's good. Starting to sober up now, so I think I'll go find myself a beer. Then I might tidy up on my bench a little bit and try and get the big vise on it, because I need to get the bearings out the top arms before I paint them all up, so I might as well smack them around a bit with the hammer first before I paint them. And let's see if we can get the bearings out. Alright, cool. Oh, little tip, you'll always forget anyway, because I always do. Make sure when you do, before you flare your brake ends, make sure you put your brake end on first. Many a time I've flared the brake end, done a lovely flare, then realised I'd forgotten to put the end on, so you have to then cut it off again. I know you still forget, because I always forget as well, but might as well try and remind you, because it helps me reminding. Alright, well, I think I'm starting to look quite professional now. I've got a bench, which is good. I've got a vise securely fastened to the table. You must make sure that, otherwise you get into all sorts of trouble if this isn't secured. I've got a special one that can just slide around to different positions, so that's good. Got my two top arms. Don't know if you can see it in the light. Shiny that end. Rusty that end, so that's going to be a bugger to get out. Hopefully the others are going to be alright. Yeah, so all professional. Looking good. So, from what I remember, my dad used to put them in the vise, get a nice bar, and just gently persuade the bearings out. So let's see if we can find a bar to gently persuade the bearings out. Well, I found this. This is an old classic of a flare in the end of turbo boost pipes, you know, 3-4 inch or 2.5 inch aluminium pipe booster pipes. Saw on internet one day how to make it. Old U-bolt clamp from an exhaust pipe, massive washer, weld it in some old G-clamps, and then bang, and you worked your way round the pipe and it made a little swaged end to stop the boost pipes coming off. Looked really bad, but once the boost pipe was on, boost pipes never came off. Anyway, just found some old bit of metal on the end here. I'm going to cut that off and reuse that as my little bar. Okay, got my bar. So basically, it's not much. The bearings don't stick out much at all. You can easily miss them. So I don't know if this is going to work. I can't remember how my dad doing it now. It all depends on how good your bar is. So let's give it a go. I'm going to put it in slow-mo, so if it does work, it looks really easy, even if it has taken me 5 hours to do. So let's give it a go. Alright, getting the bearings out is beating me at the moment. Phone call to my dad. Didn't really help too much, so just going to leave him for the moment. I might have to either get a proper puller or get a better bar. So yeah, sorry, even in slow motion it still didn't work. So I thought, well, before I go inside, I'm running out of time. I did promise Aaron from France on YouTube there that I'd get the blowtorch out, so I still need to get these plastic cups out. So let's try and get some heat on them and get the screwdriver in there and see if we can burn them out. Bit of fun. If I can light it. Alright, Aaron from France, use a bit of heat. Boom, got the cone out. This is like a little nylon cup that the ball sits in the suspension. We'll show you that when we rebuild it. This one seems okay. You can definitely tell when your suspension's knackered is if you pull one of these cups out and there's holes in it where the actual metal ball has worn through this nylon and actually into the suspension arm. So yeah, cool, next one. Alright, well, got both nylon cups out. Obviously having a bench nearly made me look professional. It just didn't work. So that's life. So we're going to call it a night for tomorrow. And we've got until, hopefully get a bit of time on it tomorrow, hopefully, so do a few videos. But yeah, we're getting there slowly. Got a brake pipe in, so at least we're in progress. Battery cable in. A bit more cleaning up of the stuff. I've got the suspension arms drying inside next to the radiator in the house. The wife's loving that. So all good. Shout out to my daughter's friend Jess for watching the videos. Don't know if you see my shout out, but thanks Jess for watching. I'm sure it's all of interesting stuff to you. But anyway, cool. Till next time.